What is up, guys? My name is Connie D'Amico, and it's been a while since we've uploaded to the channel. And in order to make it up to you, since it's the beginning of a new year, I decided to try something a little different. This is, I guess, a side series that I'm going to call Connie's Stream of Consciousness. Now, if you don't know what stream of consciousness is, it's just basically uh, going on a tangent with no interruption. And it seemed kind of forced given how I gotta give this backdrop or whatever. But I think I'm gonna just start with let's start with space. I uh I don't think part of me don't think that humanity should explore space. Cause if you don't know what the Great Wall, the Great Cosmic Wall is, it's a theory that explains that either humanity is in front of the wall, meaning that we can't progress past this point, or behind the wall, and that means we haven't found another wall yet, essentially. Meaning that once we actually get to a certain point in our progression, there's a limit or whatever. So if I don't think we should explore the cosmos because one, I feel as though like it serves us no ultimate purpose aside from finding out if we're alone or not. And I feel as though if you if you focus on other things aside from the things that's in front of you, you lose sight of the things that's in front of us. Because I mean, look at the state of the world right now. Racism is still at an all-time high. People are still starving. There's still wars going on, imperialism, corruption, so on and so on. Those things are way more important than finding out what's in space. I believe it is important to educate yourself about, the world around you. And space is technically like it concerns us. So I'm not saying we should turn a blind eye to it, but I really feel as though like with the resources that we're dumping into space, and not only space but the military, we're losing sight of ourselves. I it's I look at other countries that's like handling the pandemic, and I see how like mainly everyone aside from us has gotten support like monthly, ranging from like 1,200 to 2,000. Like it varies, but they're getting it like weekly or they're getting it monthly. While America just has to deal with the uh the 1,200 we got, and at the early back in early 2020, and the 600 that we are just now getting in 2021. So altogether, $1,800. And I don't know. I just feel as though we can't focus on other things when we're losing sight of ourselves. We can't focus on like progressing. How can we progress as a race? As like how can we make history when we're constantly sacrificing the very thing that's needed to make history? It's like, yeah, sure, you made it further than the moon. Sure, you made it to Mars. But like, what's the point? Like, why does any of that matters if you still have people on Earth suffering, still starving? Like, what's the point? Like, what do you gain from that? I feel as though people are too stuck into chasing political agendas. I feel as though that people are too stuck into being greedy. They want to make a name for themselves. And that's not the point of all of this. It's not. I don't think life has a purpose to it. And you may hear that and like think I'm depressed. But life if life had an inherent purpose, an inherent meaning, whereas though you woke up one day and you were like, okay, this is what I have to do. Like everything else just loses meaning. Life doesn't need a purpose, an inherent meaning, because That's where I think we get our freedom from. We get our freedom from deciding what we want to do. And of course, if we have freedom, and that's our inherent gift, we're free to do whatever. Yes, of course, you could argue that, yeah, you'll have some people that want to put themselves above each other. You'll have some people that want to sacrifice other people in order to achieve their goals and dreams. However, I still think that we should acknowledge that we have the freedom to do so. We should also acknowledge that it's wrong to do that. I feel as though having these people in power and putting this money towards space exploration, towards militarization, towards imperialism, it's not going to help us in the long run. You have people out here that you don't even know exist that are suffering because of our country. And yes, I'm not saying it's your fault specifically, but it's kind of fucked up, right? Like if you like truly think about like just like waking up every day, it's like even if you don't specifically see or reap the benefits of it, it's just like being in this country and just like you're 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 a pawn essentially being used for justification of their actions. Because they're like, okay, well, we got to go to Middle Eastern country A to get their resources to bring it here for the greater good. And that goes into line with like the military and imperialism because we're taking stuff from other people who are innocent. They have no idea. Well, they don't have any idea. They know why it's fucking happening, and they don't deserve that. These lofty goals and ideas are making us lose sight of each other. And I mean, I think that the greatest scam that America has pulled off, aside from the American dream, is the fact that they have convinced the majority of the country that they're going to other places that they deem worse than us and setting troops there in order to influence democracy when that's not the case. We're going to these quote unquote third world countries in order to take their resources. But if you truly sit down and think about it, how can a country be third world and still have America's interest? You get what I'm saying? You're not going over there to better them. In fact, you're going over there to make it worse because not only are you taking their resources, not only are you killing their people, but you're also giving them a skewed sense of democracy by putting in people that you can control in their offices and using that to basically influence your influence greater, further. And then you come back to America and you're like, we did it. We saved this country. But it's worse. I don't know. I just feel as though I like high key. I know at the start I said like I don't think we should like explore space. And like this is coming from a guy who like I love the cosmos. Like it fascinates me to no end. But we're just throwing excess money away that could be used for us. And I know it's not space fault. Like you get what I'm saying? It's not space fault. It's not the military's fault per se. However, I will say that if the military is getting damn near $1 trillion and you still have people suffering and you're arguing about if people deserve $2,000 to like just help them out after the fact that we've waited what 8 9 months for after the first one and then you go a quick Google search will tell you that other countries are getting help consistently because they looked at their deficit and they were like, okay, obviously we're gonna have to print more money. Obviously, we're going to have to do XYZ, and it's going to hurt. But that hurt doesn't matter in the face of saving our people, of helping our people. So they looked at it. They already knew that our economy was going to take a hit, but they still did it anyway. Here, we're having discussions about whether or not you deserve more in order to help your family, in order to catch up on bills. And it shouldn't be like that. So I'm not necessarily saying I hate space. Hell, I'm not even saying I hate the military, even though I don't support their actual practices, because I get it. However, if you have all of this excess money, you have people suffering, and you're saying, well, if we do $2,000, that's going to be an extra, I think they said two, maybe 400 billion. If your military is 800 billion to $1 trillion, I think it's actually over $1 trillion, and you take away 2 to 400 that you claim that we would need for that, you would still have way more money than you would ever need for your military. Because at this point, who are we fighting? Who are we fighting? And that's what I'm talking about. We are. They think that if we get the $2,000, it won't be for it. If we get to $2,000, they'll be like, all right, well, listen, we give them the $2,000. They're going to pay off their credit card bills. They're going to buy more things. We shouldn't do that. We should give them the 600 and make them work. Because if we give them more money, they'll become more complacent with staying at home. And we don't want that. But here's the thing. And this is something that I thought about when I was in the shower. So, shower thoughts. I think the economy and the stock market are two different things. Sure, they intertwine with each other, but they are two different things. Prime example. The people in my eyes are the economy, right? You give someone $600 and they'll go spend it at the Nike store. And let's say I don't actually like, let's say it bumps up the stock market, but like, I don't know, 0.2 points or some shit like that. You won't notice it if one person does that. However, if you give Nike the money directly, guess what happens to the stock market? Their value increases because you gave them the money directly. It increases exponentially compared to if you just give the person the money and to give it to them. Why? Because a person may not throw that entire 600 at the Nike store. Sure, giving us $2,000 would stimulate the economy because we're going to spend. We have to spend. That's the entire point of money. That's how we sustain life. However, if you cut corners, take away 1,400 to give the people 600, yeah, you're going to stimulate the economy a little bit, but most of that's going towards debt. You're not giving the people an increased quality of life because really they're just catching up on bills. You give the people 600, that's going to stimulate the economy a little bit. But if you give these businesses millions and millions and millions of dollars in order to quote unquote save them, then you are influencing the stock market. You're not influencing the economy because the economy is the people. The people make the economy. The people don't make the stock market, though. The people put their money, the economy, into the stock market. But the stock market is its own separate thing. Think of the stock market as an object, as a tangible object. Every time you buy shoes, yes, you're stimulating the economy by having money go from one person to another person, and so on and so on. And Nike, like, obviously gets that. But if you stimulate the stock market, it's going directly to that person. And yeah, it will have a trickle down effect to where so it's like, all right, this person will get money. This person, like all of your employees will get money or whatever. But how often do you see that? You won't even notice if your company gets, let's say, like $3 million. You won't notice that, but the person at the top will. Again, we are losing sight of ourselves, and it's easy to be like, okay, well, this person is bad, this person is bad, this person is bad. Let's get them out. It's easy to say that. It's easy to attack. Just shoot in the dark and be like, okay, well, this person obviously has to get out. Well, I don't think. Well, it's the people. Yeah, sure. It's the people that are in power. It's McConnell who blocked the $2,000. But what if what if it was deeper than that? You get McConnell out, and then what? You still have a broken system. You still have a system that is designed not only to go against black people, minorities, gays, etc., but you also have a system that's designed to fool the people that look like the people who are in charge. So, getting these people out is important, but you also have to understand that no matter how many times you get these people out, the system is still going to be the same. Why do you think people are out here saying, okay, if we have McConnell out there and he says no, and the rest of the Republicans are saying, yes, we support the $2,000. Get these people their $2,000. And then McConnell, who is the majority representative for them, he says no. Guess what happens? He takes the flat. We all attack him. And the Republicans who said yes initially don't actually fucking mean it, and they get off scot free. Want to know why? Because they're all benefiting from the system. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. And getting rid of these people is only a portion of the entire problem. Again, we are losing sight of ourselves. And I don't mean that I'm not saying, like, listen, the average Joe should kick out his money to, like, you know, I'm not saying he has to do that, to kick out his money to help someone. I'm not saying he has to do that, because the average Joe is taking care of their family. They have their own responsibilities. We're putting these people in charge to ensure that our money is going towards the right things. We're putting these people in charge to make sure that we stay safe. We're putting these people in charge to make sure that, in spite of crisis, in spite of tragedy, they will make sure that we walk straight. And none of those things are happening. In the midst of all of this, in the midst of 2020, we have been attacking each other. We have been putting each other down. We have been short-sighted of ourselves because of the broken system. Because the people in charge are taking heed of this broken system, because they realize that as long as they say the Democrats don't want you to have this, then what happens? You don't attack the people who can actually help you. You attack the Democrats, right? If someone says, okay, well, this person here is getting welfare checks, he's taking money out of your pockets, you should attack them. What are you going to do? You're going to attack that person. You're not going to attack the person who can actually help the both of you. Why would you do that? Instead, you want his scraps instead of getting the plate that has the entire meal on it, because it's easier for you to do so, and we shouldn't do that. The person right beside you is as poor as you are. Like, regardless of the money that you have saved up, you're poor. You will always be closer to being homeless to being completely broke than to be completely rich, to not having to worry. And that's what they don't want you to understand, which is why we have the class system. Again, losing sight of each other. You have the upper class, middle class, and then the lower class. However, if you truly think about it, the lower class and the middle class, well, yes, the middle class will typically live in nicer quote unquote homes and neighborhoods. What's actually stopping them from having a couple bad things happening and then they're just like the lower class? The fucking safety net isn't there. Just because you're a little higher and things may seem a little blurry, the safety net's not there. You're more concerned about climbing up than what's below you. And yes, that makes sense. You don't want to look down. You want to look up. You want to look up to where you could potentially reach. However, what they don't want to tell you and what people don't want to accept is that you probably won't ever make it there. So it makes you look up. You realize, that's actually kind of far. So I think I'm going to be straight right here, which is good. I don't want people to suffer. I don't want it to sound like that. But it makes you go, okay, let me sit right here. And then I'm going to look down. And what the people above you tell you is this: those people below you are trying to take your spot. And what does it do? It makes you support their agendas. It makes you get the people in that are saying, listen, I'm fighting for the American dream. I'm fighting for the hard workers. I'm fighting for those like you who can get to where I'm at through hard work. And that makes you lose sight of what's really important. It makes you go, those people at the bottom, I don't want them up here. The people at the quote unquote bottom really just wants a better quality of life. They want the same life you have. They don't want to take you from that life. Again, we're losing sight of each other. I think that part of me thinks that money shouldn't exist, at least in its current form. And I know, like, when you hear that, you're like, well, why? What the fuck are you talking about? You sound ridiculous. I have a lot of time on my hands to just think. Like, even when I'm working, I'm thinking, okay, well, in its current state, money is the, we have decided that money is the perfect medium to basically do everything. However, it's not the money that has the value, it's the people. So if you have $1 million and you're just by yourself, that money is worthless because you're just by yourself. Who the fuck are you going to give that to? And that's where it's misconstrued. So if we put more value in people and not fucking money, then you would understand, people would understand what's really important. We can't lose sight of each other. We can't do that in this time. People are going on about how crazy 2020 was, which, yes, I do agree. 2020 isn't crazy because it's 2020. 2020 was crazy because we lost sight of each other. In the midst of a pandemic, we kept partying. In the midst of a pandemic, we allowed these incompetent people to dictate our lives and safety. In the midst of 2020, we lost countless people who are inspirations to us. Whether it's through ignoring the lockdown, whether it's through just natural causes, regardless, we've lost these people. We're going to lose more people this year. However, the more that we find each other, the more that we pay attention to the people around us and to ourselves, we can help to lower that number. There were so many unnecessary deaths last year because people just got tired of staying in the house. People didn't want to believe in COVID, whether it's because they went on Fox News, whether they went online, whether Trump told them, listen, it's not that deep, regardless. All of those factors played a part. All of those factors played a part into losing sight of each other. I feel as though that we can improve this year. 2021 doesn't have to be like 2020. At the start of this, I said that I feel as though that money shouldn't be used towards space because we still have our own problems. Even if we go into space right now and we find other life, do you truly think that we'll be nice? Do you truly think that they'll be nice? Let's hope that the wall is in front of us so we can stop, take a look around, take a look below, and see the people that we've left behind and help them get to where we are. This is Connie DeBico. This is my first of consciousness. Thank you and have a nice day.